13. Erno had not left the apartment in days. In the aftermath of his police interview, his mother had hovered over him like a bad mood, and it was all he could do to avoid her reproachful stare. Aunt Sophie and Lena, and even Afra, acted like he had some terminal disease that might be catching. They intended to heap him with shame until he was crushed. He holed up in his room listening to an ancient recording, Black and Blue, by Louis Armstrong. The long-dead jazzman growled, "What did I do to feel so black and blue?" A real man would get back at them. Tyler would. And they would know that they were being gotten, and they would be gotten in the heart of their assumption of superiority. Something that would show women permanently that men were not to be disregarded. Erno opened his notebook and tried writing a poem. When you hit someone, it changes their face. Your mother looks shocked and old. Alicia looks younger. Men named Clooney get even stupider than they are. It hurts your fist. It hurts your shoulder. The biggest surprise, you can do it. Your fist is there at the end of your arm, waiting. At any and every moment, whether you are aware of it or not, once you know this, the world changes. He stared at the lines for some minutes, then erased them. In their place, he tried writing a joke. Question: how many matrons does it take to screw in a light bulb? Answer: light bulbs don't care to be screwed by matrons. He turned off his screen and lay on his bed, his hands behind his head, and stared at the ceiling. He could engineer the gross virus. He would not even need access to the biotech facilities. He knew where he could obtain almost everything required from warehouses within the colony. But he would need a place secret enough that no one would find him out. Suddenly he knew the place, and with it he knew where Tyler was hiding. The Northwest Lavatube was fairly busy when Erno arrived at 2300. Swing shift cousins wandered into the open clubs, and the free enterprise shops were doing their heaviest business. The door to the oxygen warehouse was dark, and a public notice was posted on it. The door was locked, and Erno did not want to draw attention by trying to force it. So he returned to the construction materials warehouse in North 6. Little traffic here, and Erno was able to slip inside without notice. He kept behind the farthest aisle until he reached the back wall and the deserted airlock that was being used for storage. It took him some minutes to move the building struts and slide through to the other end. The door opened, and he was in the deserted lavatube. It was completely dark. He used his flashlight to retrace their steps from weeks ago. Before long, Erno heard a faint noise ahead. He extinguished the flash and saw, beyond several bends in the distance, a faint light. He crept along until he reached a section where light fell from a series of open doorways. He slid next to the first and listened. The voices from inside stopped. After a moment, one of them called, "Come in." Nervous, Erno stepped into the light from the open door. He squinted and saw Tyler and a couple of other men in a room cluttered with tables, cases of dried food, oxygen packs, scattered clothes, blankets, surface suits. On the table were book readers, half-filled juice bulbs, constables' batons. One of the younger men came up to Erno and slapped him on the back. "Erno, my man." It was Sid. The others watched Erno speculatively. Tyler leaned back against the table. He wore a surface skin tight. Beside him lay his utility belt. His hair had grown out into a centimeter of red bristle. He grinned. "I assume you've brought the goods, Erno." Erno pulled his notebook from his pocket. Yes. Tyler took the notebook and, without moving his eyes from Erno's, put it on the table. You can do this, right? Erno's a wizard, Sid said. He can do it in his sleep. The other young men just watched Erno. They cared what he was going to say. I can do it. Tyler scratched the corner of his nose with his index finger. Will you? I don't know. Why don't you know? Is this a hard decision? Of course it is. A lot of children will die. Nothing will ever be the same. We're under the impression that's the point, Erno. Come with me, Tyler said, getting off the table. We need to talk. Tyler directed the others to go back to work and took Erno into another room. This one had a cot, a pile of clothes, and bulbs of alcohol lying around. On a wall screen was a schematic of the colony's substructure. Tyler pushed a pile of clothes off a chair. Sit down. Erno sat. You knew about this place before we came here the night of the riot. Tyler said nothing. They asked me if there was a conspiracy, Erno continued. I told them no. Is there? Sure there is. You're part of it. I'm not part of anything. That's the trouble with men among the cousins, Erno. We're not part of anything. If a man isn't part of something, then he's of no use to anybody. Help me out, Tyler. I don't get it. They say that men can't live only with other men. I don't believe that. Did you ever study the warrior culture? No. Men banding together for duty, honor, clan. That's what the warrior lived by throughout history. It was the definition of manhood. The matrons say men are extreme, that they'll do anything. They're right. A man will run into a collapsing building to rescue a complete stranger. That's why, for most of human history, the warrior was necessary for the survival of the clan, later the nation. But the 20th century drained all the meaning out of it. First, the great industrial nations exploited the warrior ethic, destroying the best of their sons for money, for material gain, for political ideology. Then the feminist movement, which did not understand the warrior and feared and ridiculed him, grew. They even persuaded some men to reject masculinity. All this eventually erased the purpose from what was left of the warrior culture. Now, if the warrior ethic can exist at all, it must be personal. Duty, honor, self. Self? Self. In some way, it was always like that. Sacrifice for others is not about the others, it's about the ultimate assertion of self. It's the self, after all, that decides to place value in the other. What's important is the self and the sacrifice, not the cause for which you sacrifice. In the final analysis, all sacrifices are in service of the self. Pure male assertion. You're not talking about running into a collapsing building, Tyler. Tyler laughed. Don't you get it yet, Erno? We're living in a collapsing building. If we produce this virus, people are going to die. Living as a male among the cousins is death. They destroy certain things, things that are good. Only this society defines them as bad. Fatherhood, protection of the weak by the strong. There's no force here, Erno. There's no growth. The cousins are an evolutionary dead end. In time of peace, it may look fine and dandy, but in time of war, it will be wiped out in a moment. Erno didn't know what to say. This isn't some scheme for power, Erno. You think I'm in this out of some abstract theory. This is life's blood. Sid ran in from the hall. Tyler, he said, the warehouse door has cycled again. Tyler was up instantly. He grabbed Erno by the shirt. Who did you tell? Tell no one. Get the others, Tyler told Sid, but as soon as Sid left the room, an explosion rocked the hall and the lights went out. Tyler still had hold of Erno's shirt, and dragged him to the floor. The air was full of stinging fumes. "Follow me if you want to live," Tyler whispered. They crawled away from the hall door toward the back of the room. In the light of the wall screen, Tyler upended the cot and yanked open a meter-square door set into the wall. When Erno hesitated, Tyler dragged him into the dark tunnel beyond. They crawled on hands and knees for a long time. Erno's eyes teared from the gas, and he coughed until he vomited. Tyler pulled him along in the blackness until they reached a chamber, dimly lit in red, where they could stand. On the other side of the chamber was a pressure door. "Put this on," Tyler said, shoving a surface suit into Erno's arms. "Quickly!" Erno struggled to pull on the skin tight, still gasping for breath. "I swear I had nothing to do with this," he said. "I know," Tyler said. He sealed up his own suit and locked down his tiger-striped helmet. "Brace yourself. This isn't an airlock," Tyler said, and hit the control on the exterior door. The moment the door showed a gap, the air blew out of the chamber, almost knocking Erno off his feet. When it opened wide enough, they staggered through into a crevasse. The moisture in the escaping air froze and fell as frost in the vacuum around them. Erno wondered if their pursuers would be able to seal the tube or get back behind the pressure door before they passed out. Tyler and Erno emerged from the crevasse into a sloping pit, half of which was lit by the glare of hard sunlight. They scrambled up the slope through 6 centimeters of dust and reached the surface. "Now what?" Erno said. Tyler shook his head and put his hand against Erno's faceplate. He leaned over and touched his helmet to Erno's. "Private 6 encrypted." Erno switched his suit radio. "They won't be out after us for some time," Tyler said. "Since we left that Judas book of yours behind, they may not even know where we are." "Judas book?" "Your notebook. You must have had it with you when the constables questioned you." "Yes, but they didn't know what the download meant, or they wouldn't have returned it to me." "Returned it to you? Dumbass, they put a tracer in it." Erno could see Tyler's dark eyes dimly through the faceplate, inches from his own, yet separated by more than glass and vacuum. "I'm sorry." "Forget it." "When we go back, we'll be arrested. We might be banished." "We're not going back just yet. Follow me."